And there's a few interesting studies that came out about the impact between physical activity and the improvements in mood. And of the 9.8 million antidepressants prescribed in the UK in 2022, around 8.8 million of them were inappropriately prescribed because there's little to zero evidence for mild to moderate depressive symptoms for putting in an SSRI or an SNRI. And when we look at the difference between, so if you put an antidepressant in somebody who's got mild depression and compared it with a placebo, there is statistically, there is no difference between those two outcomes. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because sometimes that placebo effect for some people that does have a big impact, but equally if you give them a sugar pill, it's got the same impact. When we look at physical activity, however, and we're going to come on to METs here, a MET is a metabolic equivalent task. So it's the amount of oxygen that your body's using so it's the mils of oxygen, so the milliliters of oxygen you're using per minute per kilogram of body mass, and that is what we call one MET. So if we look at even doing very small amounts of physical activity per week, so if you're doing 50 METs per week, the first 7 METs that you do reduces your risk of depression by 25%.
Amazing.
Even within the first few bits of physical activity, you're reducing risk of depression by 25%, and that was statistically significant. Much, much higher impact than antidepressants.
Brilliant.
Then after that, if we went from the 7 METs all the way up to 35, we're only getting like an additional 4% benefit. So really, the benefits in that first bit of exercise that you were touching on earlier, if we even go from nothing to a little bit, we have a huge, huge impact, both on like cardiovascular benefits, longevity benefits, but also on mental health and mood.